So I'm just working on these beams a little bit since I've got plenty of time before materials arrive. I'm just going to clean them up, picking out old nails. There's a bunch of nails in there. You can see them here. There's another one there. There's loads. I've already picked out a bunch. Anyway, and I'm also going to sand them. And I need to do the same to this one and this one. So here you can see a load of sawdust because I've been cleaning up these beams and also the plaster in between them. So I've been scratching this with a wire brush, just getting all of the loose paint and dust off. And with the beams I've been hacking away at them with a little hatchet, as well as sanding them with a machine. They've still got a fair way to go, but they're looking better. But yeah, they still need a fair bit of tidying up. Now I'm eyeing up this section of plaster here and thinking, shall I pull it out? Not sure, but I think I will, because, well, it'll be consistent like this. Although this looks kind of crappy, it will look nice once the beams are fully sanded and I've replastered in between them. And that way it will be continuous beams from here down to there. So you've got the new ones here, the old ones here. It's just at the moment there's this sort of little patch of plaster here. So yeah, I'm going to pull it out and we'll see what it looks like underneath. Okay, so I pulled it all out, cleared it up, all the rubble and dust. And this is what we've got. It looks pretty good really, looks okay. The beams look alright. They're a little bit rotten as expected. The plaster looks fine. Again, it needs touching up. This beam looks pretty good. And then I left the staircase block just as is. Don't really want to mess with that. So that's going up there, and then there's another beam here that also looks fine. This bit's sort of more recently tiled, so I don't know, they must have put this staircase in after all of these beams, I'm imagining, because these look really old. And then anywhere there's these tiles, seems to be staircasing. So these tiles also exist under there, where obviously there's a new staircase up here. So, but yeah, it looks fine. Bunch more stuff to clean up now, so I've got to clean all this like I have done with these. So that's what it looks like after cleaning. That's kind of what it looks like before. Because this is still generating a lot of dust and there's a lot of plastering that needs doing here. So dirty work. So I'm going to focus on this. And I've been grinding these down with a sander. And although they're still pretty rotten, they're a lot nicer than they were. You know, you can still see all the woodworm in there. But they're a lot nicer than they were, and I'm going to keep working on them, get them as nice as possible. And then maybe oil or paint them later. You can kind of see how they're... I mean, if they were all like this, I'd be relatively happy. But maybe I can get them a bit nicer. So yeah, lots of grinding. As you can see, it's very dusty. And I've stumbled across this nice little beam here. So this is completely rotten in here, it's just flaking away. So I'm going to have to strengthen this up somehow. I don't want to take it out because that would jeopardise the integrity of the floor, be a shitload of work, etc, etc. So probably what I'm going to do is just stick another beam under here, because this bit is just a wedge, it's loose, so I can stick a beam straight under there and across to here. And I've picked away some of the plaster that was covering this beam. This is actually a neighbour's beam. Seems like a very chunky piece of wood. And it's going through to the neighbour's house, and it's resting on this column here. But I'll be able to put a beam under that and straight across and just leave this beam in as it is. I'll clean it up and then yeah, just put a beam underneath. That's what I'm thinking now, but we'll see. Maybe the plan will change. Okay, so we got a beam cut to length and sanded and sort of temporarily put in place. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to get this fitted in permanently and then going to start plastering these ceilings here, replastering these arches, make them look nice and fresh and strengthen everything up again, because some of this plaster's a bit crumbled and there's gaps in it, like at the end there you can see it's a bit missing, and same back there. So yeah, just plaster them, same up here as well. Just plaster this properly with some construction plaster and it's going to be looking great. Okay, so fitting the beam was actually really simple. Just whacked a chunky wedge under there, sort of wedged that in with a mallet, and that is rock solid now. That is perfectly flush as well with the old beam, which is great. It's like a fantastic fit. There's no air gaps at all, so it's just touching the beam all the way along. Looks good, looks really good. So yeah, next job is going to be to plaster this. So I've got this acro here just as a test really, to see what it would be like to have a little wooden column here. And I think I quite like it, so what I'm going to do is just notch out this corner, take this off, and then move the acro in under here so that it goes right down to this point instead of being there. And I'm going to leave the acro there, so I'm going to make the hole for now so that I can get the dusty work done out the way, so that when this kitchen is fully, sorted, I won't need to do this, taking this lump out. So I'm going to do that now, put the acro in temporarily, and then later on when I've got some time I can actually make a wooden column for that and build a banister and stuff to go across to the wall. But yeah, I'm gonna fit this acro for now, just get the dusty work done, and I won't pollute my kitchen when it's finished. The beams are still pretty crudely sanded and you can see all the old wormhole, but I'm going to leave them as they are for now because I don't want to take too much material off the beams. So I've taken all of the really flaky wood off, but this is actually, the wood's okay still, so yeah, I don't really want to take off any more, because this is like, for example, this one here is quite thin now, the amount I've taken off. They're all sanded, basically they're sanded to the degree that I want to sand them to. It's kind of like a trade-off between aesthetics and strength, because I don't really want to take too much off of them. Anyway, tomorrow it's going to be plastering these up, making them nice, plastering the arches. I don't know how it's going to work, whether it's going to be easy or yeah, how it's going to be like working above my head, like trying to plaster up there. We'll see. And I also don't know how well the plaster's going to bond to this, but yeah, that's going to be an experiment for tomorrow. So I've made a royal mess up here by splattering a load of plaster up here. I'm using this construction plaster and it sets so quickly, it's absolutely crazy. You have to basically just slap it in with your hands because it sets within like 5 minutes. So if you're faffing around with a spatula, you don't stand a chance. I'm probably doing something wrong because, it shouldn't be so difficult, but the way I'm using it's fine. I'm just slapping it on all the loose, cracked bits, and all of that's secured now, so all of the loose bits have just been covered over with this stuff here. And tomorrow I'm going to go over it again with the stuff that sets much slower, so I'll have time to actually make it pretty. So this is the rough undercoat where it's ugly, but tomorrow we'll get the slow setting stuff out and actually trowel it and make it
look a bit more archy. So I've gone ahead and given these a very rough coat, splattered all over the beams of course, hard to do it neat, and I've filled in all the arches, and yeah, I've given them all a very rough coat. This one didn't need it, it's in good condition. Yeah, filled in all of this, covered this up and patched that up, and yeah, so that's all done. I'm going to let this set and then start doing some neater coats over them, and yeah, try to tidy them up and make them look nice. Right, so I've given the arches a coat of plaster and they look so good compared to this. Look how horrible that looks. And then you give them a coat and sponge them down and they just look lovely. I still need to clean the wood properly and then give it a varnish or something. And yeah, all of this still needs doing, but I've done about a quarter of it here, so yeah, super stoked. So it's kind of late, but look at this. I'm exhausted, I'm sleepy, but it's looking so good. It's all plastered, still wet, but yeah, it's done and sponged down, and it just needs tidying up now. Tidying and washing the beams. Once it's dry, it'll be easier to wash without disturbing the plaster work I've done. So we'll wash it up and get back to you. Right, I've just cleaned up the beams, you know, sanded, wire brush, washing. Horrible work because it's above your head, so all the dust and water and stuff falls down into your face. But it's looking fantastic. So these beams are done. They just need, all they need now is painting and varnishing. So I'm going to varnish the beams and paint the arches. But that's going to wait until I've plastered these walls. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've just given everything a wash down, sanded and washed. So I'm going to give them a final coat of plaster. And then, once that's done, everything will be ready to paint.